my interest in this book, beyond the what that was going on when they first came and spoke to me, was that the first two anthologies we published were both site-specific. One, London Lies, which was stories from Liars League that were set in London, and then Stations, which was even more site-specific, which was a story for every single station on the Overground from Highbury and Islington down to Croydon, with a little woofty off for Crystal Palace and New Cross. Because I live on that line, and I spent 5 years not sleeping while they built the damn thing. And then when it was built, and suddenly I could get to all these places so easily, and it was like, okay, eating my words, I don't hate them anymore. And so we did this book as a celebration of the fact that I could get to the Union Chapel in 40 minutes, and that sort of thing. So I've been doing these, and people have been describing them as psychogeography, and I was thinking, then what? This means nothing to me. They're just darn good stories, and it was a nice marketing tool. You know, you could have a reading within a mile of every station, and we did eventually. Our original plan was to do a third, but we actually got to every single station on the line and did readings eventually. And it's a bestseller in tiny terms. And so I thought, okay, I understand the urban story, and it's always been very, very specific before. It'd be kind of fun to do something that's so unspecific you can read it in Tokyo or Mumbai or New York or Reykjavik and it will still work. And you don't need to have that geographical understanding or that cultural box to put it in. So I thought, yeah, I like this idea. Let's see what we get. And you know, up until I read everything that come in, I was still going to say no, potentially, because it had to be right. Just because I said it's interesting doesn't mean I'm going to publish it if stuff that comes in ain't good enough. Fortunately, it was. We actually rejected very few, didn't we? Relatively speaking. That third.
No, it was not more than that.
Yeah.
No, because you
because
only
you
saw the long list.
Yeah. Okay. We rejected a lot.
I've got two stories in this book, but they are both unreadable out loud. So I've managed that.
This is because they rely on design.
They do, yes.
They rely on design. In fact, one of them was a big editing argument because Cam had quoted a song all the way through it. And I said, you can't do that. There's more of somebody else's words than yours. And he came up with this brilliant thing, and he's got those sort of wave things that you see when you're playing music, you know, sort of frequency levels. So he put those in instead of the words. It's just brilliant.
So it's in.
Yeah.
So this
designed the book, by the way.
Yes.
He's the book designer.
What's lovely about these stories, I think, is that this idea of missed opportunity or missed connection sometimes. And I think the city is, I think that's one of the things that drew me a lot to this idea of the city, was these things that almost happen but don't quite. Because we have this connection to cities, you know, we feel a big part of them, but then at the same time we're sort of strangers in those spaces too. So when we see something familiar or something which is a reminder that there's so many opportunities for triggers to memory, I think that was something which is really exciting. It's about the passion of the project, and I think it's sort of, you know, we three each have individual aspects of, you know, what we're trying to achieve with the book, but working collectively was really important. And I think, you know, sort of having such an open dialogue where we could say, I don't get it, or that needs to go, that needs to stay. I think that was really, really important in this experience. And I think I've certainly never worked with an editor this closely, where it was such a passion project in that way.
I'm just interested in, for full disclosure, I'm one of the 42. And
Did you get your badge that says one of the 42?
Yes, exactly. Love the design. The content is extremely varied. I mean, what drew me to it when I saw the call for it, I thought I could see that tourist guides are all about facts, and this was precisely not about facts. You know, you were saying to me, we don't want facts. You know, what we want is experience, emotion, lived, and I thought that was great. And I wrote something that was totally experience stream. But when I saw the book, I thought, wow, what a variety of things there are in here. And for me, and I'm an untutored eye, but there was everything from what I would think of as a conventional sort of short fiction, you know, with a beginning, middle, and end. And there was what I thought of as pure poetry, which was just kind of just sparking my imagination. And there was stuff sort of in between. I didn't know whether that was what you anticipated, whether your the content sort of evolved in your minds, and whether you see a difference between them, or whether you just see it as a continuous range of stimulus. I don't know. So just interested really in the difference between what I consider the conventional little story and poetry.
Mm.
Yeah, well, we always wanted that to have a whole range. We wanted to have different genres and different forms and styles because, as I was saying, that for me that kind of represents the city. The city is multiple, and it has sort of conflicting. It has shared experiences that connect people, but it also has very different and contrasting and conflicting experiences even. So that was why we wanted to have lots of people contributing to it, because if it was just a couple of people writing it, then it would be a sort of a more unified, homogenous whole perspective on the city, rather than multiple. So we obviously didn't know what we were going to get, but that's what we were hoping for, was that variety. But I think that's why. But then, so the ones that I put in of mine and Cam's, we tried to make them what wasn't there already. So mine are a bit more, as I said, kind of quirky and incomplete, and they're more fragmented because we've had quite a lot of sort of whole stories.
I think stimulus is good because it is about that. It's about sort of sparking something.
Yes.
Because these are, some of them, they're all short in terms of word count, but some
of them are really short.
Feel much more sort of you're inhabiting them much longer. They resonate something more perhaps. And I think for me, it's without the visual, it doesn't work for me. I'm not a conventional writer in that way. It needed the design aspect for it to live. And I think so. Having that variety was really important to us. We didn't receive many really short. They were a couple, they didn't hold their.
Because I think we can point out the writers in the room here. So because Nick's is this wonderful just stream of consciousness, night owl, which is brilliant, and then Tom's is very short. It's a very short piece that's set on a train. And then James is one of those very sort of complete story with the main character.
It was yours that we didn't notice had a name. We got right to we were on the final edit, and I just sent these two an email saying, "Blooming Ada, have you noticed? There's a name in this, and it's in there 12 times."
and it was amazing that we hadn't seen it, but I think it was because it almost hiding in plain sight. If you say it enough times, you don't notice, right? Yeah, but it's a really nice story. It's a lovely story, and it's and it is absolutely, there is a very sort of central character, whereas some of the others are more kind of glancing, and the characters are less explored. It's more that moment, which was what we wanted as well. So I really like that variety.
That actually came from us saying don't give people names. I think it put people off having characters.
I think that's good, because and a lot of the stories are quite a few of them actually use you. They address the reader directly. They use the second person. So you do this, you do that, which again I think works really well if you're reading it in the city. You become the character. So I think all that variety was really what we hoped for, and what we were trying to curate as well, so that there was a real variety.